expecting to grow much bigger. Let's see this year how it goes. Good morning, children. Good morning, all the other invitees too, other prominent industry leaders too here, including Nilesh. And yes, I wanted to be more of an interactive session. I will go through slowly, but at the same time, we can feel free to write some questions or ask anything in the chat box. And then Shekhar, if any related question comes in between, you can just bring it to me, my notice, and then we can talk about it immediately rather than waiting till the end.
Sure.
Okay, just a minute.
So as Shankar is sharing his screen, if anyone has any questions, please put it on the chat box, and we'll be more than happy to actually take it during his session itself.
Okay, let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, good to go.
Okay, yes, just I'll give a little bit about, already Shekhar told me about me. So this is our PTC headquarters at Boston. That's our PTC office. So we have a worldwide operation. They're representing in almost more than 50 countries, and our technologies is being used by several of the customers worldwide. So this is a small set of customer list that I wanted to showcase to all of you to showcase who the PTC is. If you notice it, right from the high aerospace and high tech to automotive and even to the consumer industry, even the Nike in the consumer industry, Whirlpool, or even Raytheon or Boeing, everybody is a PTC customer using the PTC software in designing, building, and managing those products. And the same set of softwares that we do provide free of cost for all the FTC and FRC team members, even FLL team members. It's the same industrial software used by these companies to build your robot and then get to learn about STEM and the technologies. So if you are not already using it, feel free to get into the PTC site, and then you will be able to register and get licenses for a 1 year free of cost. You will be able to use it. So now when we zoom into India, if you notice it, even here too, we have a varied set of customers, right from Enfield, even TVS, HAL, Godrej, across everywhere. You see every bike that in India, it's produced by TVS or Royal Enfield, has got a complete design built in using the Creo and managed with all other PTC softwares. This is a slight introduction about PTC and the company. Now let's go about design as well as in the context of FTC. So just I wanted to put some challenges. How do you go about in designing your robots? Be it as an FLL, FRC, or FTC, probably you may be facing a lot of these challenges and things. I'll say that what do you need to, when you need to build different types of robots, your physical parts are always limited. So if you wanted to try out the various modules or various designs, yes, you know that there are multiple ways you can achieve the same thing, but which one is the best one? How will you go about? Maybe okay, you start with you build it. Oh, okay, then you dismantle it, and again you build another mechanism or another extension, and it's going to be not a easy way to do it. Every time you put it, every time you try it out, it's going to be a very costly and time-consuming effort if you're trying to start with physically building your robot. So and again, most of our robots do a lot of extensions in the FRC and FTC robots, even in FLL. So how do you know that when you are moving around with an extended arms or extended mechanism, how your robot is going to be very stable? How you will evaluate it? Maybe you build it, you run it, and then, oh, it topples. Then it has to climb it, it has to do it. If it topples, then you go and then start to the drawing board, and then you may have to redo it. So a lot of this, and again, most of the times, even if FTC teams, I have seen that they built it, start with the building it, and after finally they end up with exceeding that 18-inch. Then they have to go back to the redesigning that entire module. Or there are a lot of challenges. The way, if you get the problems towards the end, it will be a costly thing to rework and do things. So what is the solution for all of this? So that is where you get this CAD. It's just not a complete one, it's a small model as I did. If you start doing it in your designing in the sketchboard first, you start with an idea, then if you go to the CAD models, if you start building it, that provides you an environment where you will be able to do multiple attachments or multiple models. You can build it without any physical constraints. Once you know the way how you model it, you may be able to produce multiple variations of the robots. And also you can build some mechanisms over there, and you can find out where is the center of gravity is there. When you extend it, when you extend your extensions and thing, still where is your CG? The CG plays a very important role in toppling of robots. So, and even the weight of the robots, if you assign proper materials and thing, you'll be able to find out what will be your weight of the robot. So this will help you to design whether you wanted to build a nimble robot which moves across very fast, or you wanted to be a heavier robot where it can accomplish things. All these things you can do it even before actually putting all the robots. That is where the power of this computer-aided design comes in. You'll be able to maximize the benefit of it, and PTC do provide two softwares to do it. One is a Creo, that's a typical on-prem software where you install and do it. The next is OnShip. It's a recent addition to the PTC family. So that is also an equally, both are equally good, and it depends upon what your need and what is your environment in which you are operating it. If you have a very good connectivity, and if you have internet and everything, you can try it out OnShip, which gives you a lot of collaboration among the team members. Whereas if you wanted to do alone, you install it and then you don't face a connectivity issue, or if you don't have a reliable internet, you can try it out with Creo, which is installed on your desktops, and then you will be able to build it and then experiment. Both the technologies do provide wonderful way of building designs and then experimenting it, doing all mechanism, or even finding out what are the issues, problems, sizing, or CG, everything, whatever you may need, you can explore and do it. If you notice it, as I mentioned about the customers, the entire airplanes, the entire cars, everything is designed in a similar fashion than before even manufacturing it. So that's a good thing that brings about you starting with a CAD. Now let me start with, it's not a new concept. If you look at it, even in a 1400, even some of the old times, always the designing starts with sketching. If you notice it, this is one of the things, sketch design of one of the earlier concept of a helicopter. That is what it came up by the Leonardo da Vinci. So this is the starting point where you start with, even in FRC, FLL, you start with the sketching. Your robots, what is the idea, how should you do it? Then you go to the 3D design, and then you start build onto it. So you know this gentleman, all of you in this front. So he's our founder of the FTC, founder of the US First, and started with all the program, one of the evangelists, and then the STEM professional who has a lot of inventions. See, here also, if you look at it, his invention of the Segway, it starts with the paper sketch design and then move on to the 3D design. That's what I wanted to say. That one is, let's say that I wanted to do a flower vase. How will you go about it? A small design? If I say that, okay, this is what I want, I envisage that the flower vase should be there. I wanted to see how it will look in 3D, how it is a thing. So let's explore into how the Creo is going to help you in drawing this and build a 3D model out of it. Just I'll play a small video where it is thing. The same profile what you are seeing here. This is my sketch. This is what I wanted to build it. This is my profile. Yes, this is exactly the same how you see it in the notebooks, what you draw. Now I've got a 2D of this cross section of this one. So then what I do it. Let's see that how this looks like and how I'll be able to quickly convert this into a 3D model. How quickly you are able to build a 3D model. So it provides a lot of tools. It's a very, very simple one. Just I wanted to showcase a very small thing of, you can build your own custom made parts. It's not just only the kit of parts, whatever it's already available. You can do a custom made the parts, and then you can generate a NC programming algorithms. You can get it manufactured, and then you will be able to build your robot using all this entire custom made parts, or even you can do a 3D print too. You don't need to do NC, even the Creo or even Onshape, both of them provides an interface to 3D print it. So once you build a model, you'll be able to go and then fire it to a 3D printer where you will be able to create this model out of the parts and assemble it in your robot. So this is a small introduction about building using the Creo or using the CAD to build the models and thing. It's not just a simple parts. Just I wanted to see that, showcase you that it's a very complex mechanisms also you will be able to build in this one. So this is a small showcase of, it's not a static one. If you, okay, you build an assembly, once you build an assembly, you will be able to perform all the mechanisms or all the connections, how you want to do it. You are all built with using a lot of gears and things. So how you wanted to simulate and make sure that everything is working fine. All these also you will be able to perform everything in the CAD world. I'll showcase you a small example of how this gearbox is being designed and evaluated it. If you notice it, by shifting this gear, you will be able to notice that all this, how the gears are being shifting, and you'll be able to run this mechanism and show how the gears are running too. And another good thing is that you'll be able to figure out the volume of the things. When you wanted to place your robot in some place where you wanted to make sure that it doesn't hit anything when you are going close to your end game something. So these are the things, if you notice it, this is the volume. If you place your robot, we will touch upon this augmented reality a little later. So you'll be able to build this and place this robot in the physical field. And you can see that whether it is hitting this volume map, you can see whether it is hitting or impacting any of those things. All these simulations you will be able to perform virtually by building all this full-fledged CAD model into before even starting any physical building of robot. Okay. Oh, sorry, I think it's. Now, if this is a PTC logo, that's what I wanted to start with your logo, that what we are PTC as a company is trying to do is, till now what you saw is all a digital world. You model everything in a computer, you try it out everything, you even run it, and then you make sure that your design is start from the concept to the final 3D model and with a full-fledged mechanism. You did everything in digital, but how it is getting connected to the physical, whether how to even, okay, you built should we wait everything to be built on the physical one, then only you'll be able to collaborate between digital and physical. That was the earlier concept. Now PTC is trying to bring in how you can bring this both the physical world and digital world very close by. Okay, now I have got a complete 3D design. Now I wanted to see how do you validate that in a reality, how this is going to look around, how this will be. I have built a more for the FRC or FTC world. I have built a robot completely. How can I place it in the field? How it will look, whether it will fit within the boundary box, whatever the platform they mentioned it. How will when I do an extension, whether will it be able to physically reach these things? How will you evaluate it? That is where with the physical and digital is being one of the way to connect them is through augmenting the reality world. If you notice this is one of the teams that built this robot for the Robo Ruckus Challenge. That was a 2018-19 series. I'll showcase you a small one. If you notice it, this image showcase you that it's in the physical world where you can see my computer, it's in my dining table, and then you'll be able to place this robot in the size, and then you'll be able to see whether this robot, how it will look like, how it will fit within that model. So I'll give you a quick demo of how you can put your robot, which is designed in a 3D, into a physical world. We'll go for a small demo. Just give me a second, it is coming up.
Sure.
Okay. I hope you are able to see my.
Yep.
So I'm going to place the robot over here. So this is what you called augmenting the reality. It's a real world where you are coming your digital content and then going to present it over there. Somebody calls it as a augmented reality. Some people, some companies like a Microsoft, they call it as a mixed reality, because you are trying to physical and the digital world together. That is what it's called a mixed reality, or augmenting the real world with your digital world. Yeah. So now if you see, slowly that robot is going to get assembled over here. It's on a top of my table. So the same thing what you could do is you can augment this digital into a FRC or FTC field, and then you will be able to see how that physical, how this robot is looks in the field, whether this extension, if you notice it, this extension, whatever this extension is, will it reach the field or will it reach the goal? You'll be able to move around and see this. You can zoom in, zoom out, you can walk through it, you can move around and then see how it looks in the 3D world. It's a okay. So is it interesting to see how this is the one that's keep coming in this new world. This is one of the technology which tries to bring the physical and the digital world together. So it's not just for your robot. In COVID situation like this, if you notice it, this is being used across the world. The expert could be sitting it in one place and the actual field could be at a different one. So still you will be able to interact with them physically and digitally. You can search this, and then I'll give you a little bit of more concept about digital twin and how in situation like in COVID, where you will cannot interact with each other, you cannot physically, how this bringing this physical and digital world is helping. That I will showcase you in another video in a few more minutes. I'll go back to the presentation mode. And again, if you notice it, if you continue to use the Creo that I mentioned it, even this view augmented reality application, everything is PTC gives free for FTC users. So you will be able to use it and then explore this without anything. Okay, these are all, I think I'm running out of time, I believe. Isn't it? For how long it's?
No, you can continue. You've got another about 15-20 minutes. So don't worry.
Okay, I'll come to this slide later. First, I wanted to say is the next concept is coming is the digital twin. That's another thing that now you saw the digital world where you build it, and there is a physically your robot is there. First, you can augment the physical world with your digital, and then understand that yes, now everything I've verified it and made sure that my digital whatever I prototype, I modeled it in digitally, can solve all my problems. Then you go ahead and build the physical product. Yes, now you have a physical product and a digital one. How you are going to connect these to each other when it is running it. So that is where the concept of the digital twin is coming in. So you have got a physical, be it by any product, be it your motorcycle, be it an aircraft, with all the sensors and everything, you built it. And the same, you have a digital model of it, modeled it with and even analysis is done. You can correlate both of those things, that whether the physical ones are working as designed, and the sensors, that is where the Internet of Things comes in, where all the data that is being generated from the physical world can be stream to the digital world and make sure that you can simulate it, the physical condition onto the digital world, and make sure that yes, whatever the physical object that you are doing it is performing as per your design, or even you can look at for an improvement. I'll showcase you a small demonstration of this digital twin, both how the physical and a digital robot is playing, and then how you could infer out of this. This is a physical robot, and it's a weightlifting one. One of the biggest challenge for this robot is, if you notice it, if you try to lift it, it may topple because it goes beyond it. So you can analyze it in computer, and then you can control this, how much it should go about, what is the way it can go. If you notice it, currently this is the physical world. It's augmented with right now it's a 0. You can see that there is no weight being lifted. It is a 0. Now you see, this is what the physical robot is going to do. It takes a little bit time for, now you see, this is the 147 pounds is the one that, this is what the robot is. And again, this is what now the digital one is coming and superimposing over that. How is the CG is going to, this is what the digital world calculates the CG. As it goes up, how the CG is going to grow. If you notice it, as the height changes, this is what, if the height changes, how the CG is, the red ball is the CG. How it goes up, and then how it is going to help you to keep the physical robot stable. If you see, this is the exact digital twin of the digital one and the physical one doing it. And this can be at a far apart. If you notice it, this physical robot can be in another continent, or it could be a factory space where this entire machinery, entire thing is there. So you can simulate the entire thing, what's going on over there in the physical world in a digital, and then the expert can give an advice. Oh, okay, you cannot go beyond this. If you go beyond this, you may topple. All these kind of very close physical and digital interactions you will be able to perform, and then see exactly it matches. It's a small example of how the physical and digital can go together. This is how the future world is going ahead, and then this technology was really being used in this situation in COVID world. One of the real world example, I will tell you that a lot of companies had the manufacturing company, the ventilators. You needed a lot of ventilators to support this COVID situation. But a lot of companies were not able to build it. They didn't have a design. Yes, even the Enfield company also was planning to do it, and then a lot of other typical mechanical companies, they didn't have a designer, they didn't have anything. So PTC worked with a lot of these companies and then gave this design, and then the experts built it and then showed them step by step of what to do it. And then the companies did build the ventilators and then provided those ventilators to the patients that are needed. There are stories being captured in the web. You can go and then search it, the PTC, and then the ventilator support. There are a lot of stories. So this was achieved by having this digital twin concept, where you will be able to digitally build everything, and then even showcase how to physically augment, and then showcase them step by step how to build, assemble, sitting remotely. That's how you are bringing this entire world towards this, using these technologies. So this is the upcoming technologies that's being PTC is very proud to be part of, and then trying to give out all these to the young students community who are part of this FTC and FRC. So you can explore all these technologies free of cost, download, and then you can try it. If you need any help or anything in exploring any of this, feel free to reach out through Shaker or directly to me, and then we will be able to help you out, set up things. So if you have a time, I can showcase few more videos of how this augmented reality things that PTC is building, some of the demos, if you have a time, if you want to see it.
Yes, absolutely, Shankar. That will be nice.
Okay. It's a 3-minute video. I can see this. It's again, it's a completely in a physical world. There are nothing is there. Now you'll be able to see several, it covers almost all the PTC products by showcasing. This is a CAD one. How the CAD, this is, I didn't touch it upon, this is another AI based generative design is a new way of how you design it. This is coming up in the Creo and Onshape in the upcoming releases. So here you tell what to do and the computer will come up with the design of how your parts should be. It's completely an AI and ML based module. And again, you can simulate this one. This is what the simulation is happening. You'll be simulate and then see the real stress heat analysis, and you can do a configuration of parts. If you notice it, even if you have family of products, you take any scooters or any cars or any airplanes, you will have a different configurations to build a different models. So all those things you will be able, physically you will not be able to build it, but virtually you will be able to configure and then see how it will look like. For example, you have a cars, the same cars that are being built in India is a right-hand drive, but in the same models, if you put it in the US, it will be a left-hand drive. How it will look like and everything, those are the configuration managements. So on all those things, this is one of a small example of different engines with the different configurations, how it will look like a 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder, all these configuration you can do it. And then next is a concept of how your factory is going to be simulate your factory, and then you can turn them into a smart factory. The same, if you go to the physical factory where you will be able to see this dashboard saying this, hey, how is this station is operating it, or in the digital world, that is sort of thing. If we are looking at a digital twin, the same, whatever it's happening in a factory can be replicated in the digital world. And here it's being showcasing for your end user product, making every end user product as a smart product. So seeing that what is your battery, what is your oil condition. So you can go and then augment this information onto your physical car, or even in your digital world, you will be able to augment and see your actual car, how much is the condition of your oil, where it is, all these you will be able to do it. And this is a own procedure where you will be able to tell how to repair your engine. Step by step, it will give you an instruction of what you do it, how you can go ahead and take it, and then so it will be very helpful for any entry-level person or anyone to learn about it, or even do-it-yourself kit. If you notice it, if you are taking with the 2D, the do-it-yourself, you have to understand how the drawing, what is the thing. Whereas in 3D, it becomes very easy that where you have to go, which nuts you have to open it, how you can do it.
So Shankara, does this allow you to actually flip it around, see it underneath the
Yes.
itself? It allows you to do all of that.
Yes, you can zoom into, you can go inside how it looks like too.
Okay.
So you can get in, see how the engine will look like, how the seating will, you can do a walkthrough also. If it is a very big assembly, if you can model if you want to, if you have an entire aircraft or a ship too. So you'll be able to augment from outside to, you can go inside and then see around, walk in and see how it looks also.
Yeah.
So Shankara, what,
yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, I'll just ask the question. It was just slipping my mind. So Shankara, you mentioned that it is real time, right? So I understand that a lot of these could be used for training, right? It could be used for giving it to engineers to understand the component structure of a particular engine class. But you also were mentioning that it is also real time. Like I can actually see how the engine is getting used, how much of oil is getting used and stuff like
Yes.
that. Is that really a possibility now?
Yes, yes. In fact, I haven't touched upon about the IoT because that's another PTC product that's based on a ThingWorx platform. It's already being used by, in India, if you look at it, Pune Bharat Forge and even Royal Enfield is coming up. A lot of companies are building this IoT products. So where you'll build in the sensors and everything, and even the smart cars are coming. So you'll be able to, Volvo and even BMW, everything, all the smart cars are there. So if you have the app, you go and then see your car, and then immediately it will tell you if it's a connected car. So then all the data goes into the internet, and then immediately from the internet it pulls in what is the current one, and then it will overlays on top of the physical world.
All right, that's great. So there's a question by Arja, one of the students, and he's asking, is this application available free for non-FTC students?
Yes, any student will be able to register in the PTC as a part of the curriculum, and then you will be able to download for a 1 year as a student edition. You'll be able to download free of cost. Any of the augmented, if you are installing a Creo and you are building it, even the creating an augmented reality experiences becomes very easy. Within a Creo, you will be able to publish to the augmented reality. That's also free. And then the Vuforia View is again a free software. You can download it on your iPhone or Android. And then you'll be able to do this augmented reality. Need not be an FTC student. Any student can be able to do it.
Yeah, Nilesh, please go ahead with the question.
Yeah, Shankara. So, I just wanted to know what kind of manufacturing, setups would need to do some kind of ramping up of the conventional manufacturing technology to keep pace with, these kind of augmented reality. Because here it seems like, everything is just possible. So how do manufacturing setups actually ramp up their capabilities to achieve this?
Okay, that's a very good question. So that's what, if you see manufacturing, it's the smart, if we commit out, it's called as a smart connected operations. Now, okay, most of the machines, they are augmenting it, and the PLCs are there in every of the machine. So that is the starting point of to get the sensor data and then come up with it. A little bit investment is there right now. It's not that straight away you get it out of the box. So you need to have a little bit of investment in converting your factory into a smart factory. Right. And then you will be able to get this from the control. The PTC do have provide a complete solution of converting your normal factory into smart factories. In fact, we do have a tie-up with Rockwell Automation. So they are to convert your factories, because they are the ones who build a lot of these machines and everything, automation of the factory. So with that, we have a tie-up with them to build a smart factory digitally also. And then you will be able to control both in the physical world and the digital world.
I mean, this looks absolutely amazing in sense, your entire thought process, whatever you have in your imagination can be so easily put into the software, and it looks like there are no boundaries to this. You can just keep making it,
Yes, in fact, one of the things, a lot of things personally I have visited is, I went to the Bharat Forge who has implemented it. Sitting in the control room, they'll be able to see entire forging. They are a worldwide leader in forging. So every few seconds, one complete forging part comes out. So they have a complete dashboard sitting and seeing it, saying that the process of the metal block to a final forging. They can see a complete factory, where it is, and where it is a bottleneck is coming up. Sitting in the thing, they will be able to, they have completely automated it, and they could be able to see it. And also they will be able to predict it. So what is going on, where it is a problem. And again, the data coming in, you can easily plug in your analytics over there and see that one is, this component is going to fail because it's operating in always in a high temperature, or it needs something. So the alerts also comes up in the dashboard, and then you'll be able to do the preventive measures rather than before it actually fails. So this is also, it is being called as Industry 4.0 in the Europe world, whereas in the US it's called as a smart factories and smart connected operations. But this is where the world is going towards.
Oh, absolutely. Things are becoming absolutely seamless, and big change, very big change is expected. Yeah.
So another question for you, Shankara, someone has put it on the group, is what's the difference between Creo and Onshape?
Okay, so Creo, both are CAD software, and both can do exactly whatever the design. If you notice it, all these designs, what you're seeing it in screen also, you can model both of them. So one is, as I said, the Creo is an on-prem software. It was where you don't need an internet or anything. You install it over there, and then you can continue to work without any need. And you can, you don't need internet. You can build it, and then you can, and it has got a lot more capabilities. Onshape is upcoming one. Whereas if you notice it, Creo is a well-established product that is running it for almost 30 years right now. It started with a pro engineer and morphed it. So it has got a vast capabilities over there, be it a complete manufacturing, product lifecycle management, and then interface with this one. So it is being used in the big corporates right now. If you look at it, the entire cars are being manufactured and modeled it there. Whereas Onshape is an upcoming one where it is completely, you don't have to do install or anything. It is a cloud-based solution where you just need an internet and you sign up an account, and then you don't have to do install or anything. Just you log in, and then you'll be able to immediately quickly go ahead and then do things. And collaboration becomes very easy because everything, all your files sits over there in the cloud. So if you're looking at an FTC kind of an thing where you don't need a very, very high end product suits like the manufacturing, molding, milling, a lot of these high-end things, you don't need it, all other things. Then for FTC teams, it becomes very easy. FTC or even any student community, it becomes easy to work with an Onshape where you can collaborate too. But only thing is it's a network, it's a high bandwidth you need it because it continuously streams and work with this. So that's the only thing is you need a very good internet connection to do it. But it provides you a very lot of good collaborative functionality.
Yeah, certainly our students found it very convenient to use Onshape because it became so easy for them to use the technology. And as you rightly said, Shankara, the collaboration became very, very simple.
Yes.
So in spite of the lockdown and all the stuff that was happening, it was very easy to put together the robot, using these parts,
Yes.
and importing it and, just put, so it seemed also very, very seamless. And, because there was no kind of a, installation that you had to do and everything was cloud-based, using it became very, very convenient. It was absolutely convenient. Yeah.
That's true. So in fact, that's what we are. Sorry, Nilesh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a very good starting solution, especially for someone who is a little new to these CADing softwares, and someone who wants to use this as a first timer. Probably Onshape could be a place where you can start. It could be very, very easy to use.
Yeah, that's what we are also PTC is projecting is that one is, yes, for educational one, Onshape makes a very, very big, I think even Creo education is also there. As I said, if somebody don't have an internet and those issues, they can use it. But for education and even the other student community, we have started pushing, even in the industry, where you have the less complex use cases, the small and medium enterprise, where you have a smaller places, where collaboration becomes very important. That is where the Onshape is being placed it. Whereas Creo is the traditional, very big organization where you need a different kind of challenges. That is where the Creo is being positioned.
So a couple of more questions for you. One is, what is the difference between Creo and SolidWorks? And the second question is by Bhavin, which says, generative design feature. Is this existing in PTC Creo now?
Okay. So SolidWorks is again another software, similar software like a Creo. It's an on-prem software. Yes, it's also equally good one. It's one of from our competitor, but I will not say that. It's also an equally good. It's a very well popular software, but it also can do a lot of good things. It's exactly like a Creo, but even as I mentioned it, for the collaboration and even for you are starting up working with this one, the Onshape, that is where the Onshape comes in and then helps you out quickly work out in the for the students or even to start any new activities. Onshape brings in a very good tool to start with. Creo and SolidWorks both are at a similar league, which could be used for different challenges. But even Creo do have a lot of different capabilities on top of SolidWorks too. Even SolidWorks is a mid-end. So whereas even if you see SolidWorks is for the mid-end, and then they have the same company have a high-end as a CATIA. That is what they differentiate that SolidWorks for a medium end and the high end. Whereas Creo is a single one for a use for both medium as well as the high end. So if you have a very thing of medium to a high end, then our positioning is to use Creo. Whereas if you are in a SolidWorks, then if you have to go to a very high end, then you have to completely switch over to CATIA. Okay. Coming to the generative. Generative is coming up in the upcoming Creo 7, that's the latest version that we released it. It has a small sneak peek of a Creo, but the release that is going to go out in the Creo 7.0 release in December, that will have more capabilities of generative. So that's still the student edition is not yet there in the Creo 7. So that's why you may not be able to do it. But once the student edition comes out in a Creo 7 based, then you will be able to experiment that generative too.
Okay, great. Do we have any more questions for Shankaran? I was just seeing, are there any? And I would believe, Shankaran, there was a question also in terms of, whether the AR is available with a free version of Creo. You said it is freely
Yes.
available, right?
So if you go to the Creo, once you have a model date, if you go under the tools, there is a augmented reality one section is there. So where you will be able to, there are some sample tutorials also there. So you'll, only thing is you will be able to handle only as a free model, you'll be able to have only 5 models that you can publish.
Okay, great.
Okay. Hi, Sankara.
That's another difference. Currently, the augmented reality is not there in Onshape. That may come up in the future that we are working on it. But currently, with the Creo student edition, whatever we have it, you will be able to do this augmented reality too, free of cost.
Hi, Sankara. Good morning. Ashwin here.
Hi, Ashwin.
How are you?
Nice to see you again. Yeah, good, good.
Okay, so we also had one question, like somebody has also put it on the chat box. Avnesh has also put it. Are there any comprehensive study or say training materials available for PTC Creo student edition that can be used effectively for FTC students, specifically here in India?
There are a good amount of material is there. I need to search it, but we do have I need to search it. But if you sign up it, and then if you go to the PTC University and curriculum, all these should be accessible. I need to check it out. But yes, it's a step-by-step tutorial. Even in the help, if you notice it, there will be a standard tutorials are available step-by-step of part modeling, assembly modeling, mechanism. Everything is there in the thing. Right now, the latest one, I need to check it out. But definitely, there are a lot of material is available as a part of the Creo Help Center.
Yeah, so in fact, that help center has a lot of links which also lead you to the users who have also uploaded a lot of tutorials about how to use Creo.
Okay.
So in fact, there are many links which are available, and I mean it's in abundance actually speaking. There are a lot of there are loads and loads of knowledge center which has really come up along with the Creo. So starting right from what is your interest level as a student, as an entry level, to a high end professional level. So all those things are available.
Yes.
But a lot of links are there, many are there. So Ashwin, I can send you those links also. I mean, there are quite a few.
Sure, Nilesh.
Okay, I have a question. When we are teaching kids for FTC, I agree Onshape is a great platform because there's a lot of collaboration, so they can work together on cloud, and there is less of inconvenience with it getting either losing material or their data. But I want to know when we create the actual FTC bot, will Creo be more helpful or Onshape?
Both are equally good. That's what I say, that there is no, exactly both are the same, similar principles, underlying kernels are the similar ones. So there is no difference in functionality or capabilities for both Onshape and Creo. So whichever is comfortable, you could use it. And then even currently Onshape came into the PTC family very recently. So that's what we are still working on it in the interoperability between those two. So hopefully we will be able to, now you will use a little bit cumbersome, but sooner we will come up with a thing that whatever the Onshape model, you will be able to open it in a Creo, or a Creo will be able to open it in Onshape. Those interoperability also is going to come in feature. Within a year, it should be there.
Yeah, I think that will be great, Shankar, because with this, like we say that we are a very progressive country. However, a simple thing like Wi-Fi goes for a toss every now and then. We've been lucky, like for the last 1 hour, we haven't had any issues or drops over here, right? But if you have that interoperability between Creo and Onshape, I think that will really, really help the students to continue their designing as and when they finish it off, either offline or in an online.
Yeah, that's all in the plan, because Onshape came into our PTC family last year. So we still have a lot of plans to integrate these two.
Great. All right. I think, are there any more questions that are there? We're almost up for time on this now.
Are there any exams or are there any evaluations or certifications, especially for design, that we can recommend children to participate or give for PTC or Onshape?
There are a lot of these PTC partners are there. They do run the certification programs and then they do give the certifications. But PTC does not do involve directly over there. We do have a certified partners for PTC in India also. There are good number of academic partners are there. They do provide these certifications.
Okay, that's great. That's
So, Sankara, does are these programs also being kind of promoted in the schools, wherein they can adopt, say, Onshape, or they can at least try out Creo? Is there something being done from PTC, or
Yes. The K-12 program, if you go to the PTC site and then look for a K-12 program, there is a lot of things available. You can sign up for this one and then you can build a curriculum and use the PTC software, both Onshape as well as the Creo to build your curriculum too.
But are the schools in India also adopting these kind of softwares, or is it becoming a part of their regular kind of curriculum?
So definitely we do have some kind of a college level, university level, we do have a tie-ups and stuff. The school level, we are promoting it and then a little bit here and there, but that's being handled. There are few schools are there, but that's being handled it by our partners rather than PTC directly doing it.
great. I think we've had those questions. And I think, Shankar, if you could probably, share any of these study training links, I think that's what, there are some requests, right? Then I can forward it to all the students who actually registered for this event today, and we can share it with them then.
Sure, Shekhar. I'll do that.
Fine. Ashwin?
Yeah. So Shankar, thank you so much for this amazing sessions. I would rather say some of the major key takeaways were like the way you told us how to go ahead about designing about any of the robots and machines, and the way you showed some live examples of how FTC teams mentored by you and your associates have been implementing those strategies is really helpful. And I'm sure that will help other coaches as well on how to effectively teach students about Creo and about the designing aspects. Right, and more importantly, the way you throw light on PTC Creo as a whole software and the kind of features that it comes with. And after this session, I'm like more impressed with PTC Creo, and I'm like, okay, it stands at par with Fusion 360 as well. But until now, before this session, I was of the call that Fusion 360 is way more advanced than what PTC Creo offers. So why not explore that platform? But with this session, we have got a very clear idea about the prowess of PTC Creo as a software, right, as a CAD tool. So thank you so much for coming to the FIRC platform and sharing your insights about designing and visualization about these designs. I'm sure it will help all the participants who are there in today's webinar and everybody who is going to watch this at a later stage as well from our Facebook Live recording are going to benefit tremendously out of it. Right. Thank you so very much, Shankara, once again.
Thanks, Ashwin. Thanks, Shekhar. Thanks, Nilesh, for providing this opportunity. Yes, it's it's more. It's not that I'm biased with the PTC because I'm with PTC, and that's what I wanted to showcase. That Fusion 360 is also a good one, but it has got a lot of things. If you want a cloud one, my suggestion will be try Onshape. Otherwise, if you want to do an install base, try with the Creo. So it provides you a lot of good functionality, and thanks for providing this opportunity to interact with the students. I always love talking to them and then spreading the STEM over here, and especially FTC and FRC. So FTC is a very close to my heart because PTC, we as a part of PTC, we brought to India. We want to make sure that it flourishes and then grow leaps and bounds.
We are sure it will.
Yeah, thanks, Shankara. Thank you so much, for sharing, all your insights on this. And of course, I mean, as far as your passion for FTC and, these programs go, we all know that, it's just amazing, that the kind of help that you're extending to, all the students. And obviously, the benefit is there for everyone to take. The only request would be that, yes, we need to create more opportunities wherein we can spread the awareness to more and more student communities, have more and more of them really make use of, these kind of freely available softwares which don't cost you anything. If they can take up, if we can encourage our students to, to take up more and more of these, the number of innovations that we can have, the number of hands-on learning experiences that can really occur, it can really change the stage, the scenario in which our students currently are. I think that all these kind of technologies and the support that you provide could really be kind of game changers, for a lot of our student community. I
Yes,
think we'll put in more and more effort to make sure that everyone is aware of these products and they use it very, very effectively, for whatever projects that they wish.
Yes, that's a very good one, Nilesh. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This will help them making them very good adults, having a better knowledge in technologies.
No, certainly it gives them so much of freedom. I don't need physical resources to work on these. So I would begin from there. So for even a student who has a lot of things in his imagination but is not able to put it across, these softwares will become like a boon. It is so
True.
easy for them to really put things together. And once they start doing this, then they understand what mistakes they are doing. They also try to understand that what could have basic principles all these things work upon. I mean, your mechanical engineering becomes so much of an easy task to learn, with the help of these kind of CADing softwares, which otherwise is very tedious. And at least in my engineering, we've got very less opportunity to work hands-on. It was never there. There was hardly anything that we could do.
Yeah, that's true. With the technology nowadays, everybody, you can't compare the resources they have it and the challenges at the same time, the challenges they are also having.
Yeah. Well, this is an amazing thing that, how it can really replace even a few things that are not there with you, but, these tools can actually be an absolute great replacement for that.
Yeah.
And certainly the learning becomes much easier and more holistic.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Shankar. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Tomorrow we've got Neeraj Mandana. So I would request everyone to join tomorrow. He's going to talk about careers in STEM. It's going to be a super, super, super interesting topic because everyone is worried about what do I do in STEM and what do I learn from? Where is my career going to go to? So I really encourage all of you as audience to join in tomorrow. It's going to be super subscribed. I'm sure about that. So see you tomorrow morning then. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shankara. Thank you, Nilesh.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Nilesh,
Thank you.
Shekhar, and Ashwin.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.